Today is January 11th, 2019. My name is Joe Todd. This is an interview with Kenneth Leon Caswell in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Sir, where were you born?
In Tyro, Kansas,
And when's your birthday?
April 8th, 1950.
1950. Who is your father?
Kenneth William Caswell.
And your mother?
Mina Augusta Caswell. A maiden name was Long.
Long. What was the first name?
Mina,
M-I...
M-I-N-A.
Okay. Fine. Did you go through school in Tyro?
No, I went to high school and everything in Alt, Colorado.
Now, when did the family move to Alt?
Well, it's kind of a long story. Dad drank a lot, and we just traveled, all five of us children, and left Kansas in '58, moved to around Greeley, Hudson, Colorado, in that area, and stayed there until probably '61, then moved to Idaho, then California, then Oregon. So a kind of migrant workers. We was raised in that environment.
Okay. What year did you graduate high school?
67.
From Alt, Colorado?
Well, I actually didn't complete high school until I got in service.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of work your father did?
Well, probably a welder and just mechanic, as far as I can remember, miscellaneous things.
Now, when you were moving around all this, what kind of work did you help with the family when you were moving around?
Yeah, my brother and I was a year younger. We did work for a farmer in northern Colorado, Gene Icahn, and he was a dryland wheat farmer. We operated combines at 12, 13 years old at that time. So anyway, just that kind of stuff.
In your schooling, who was your favorite teacher?
Oh, well, I can remember after all these years, in my first and second grade in Caney, Kansas, was Miss Moline or Caney, I can't remember, Miss Elrod and Miss Akins, and there was a Danatil. It's strange that I can remember that, but I do.
Why were they your favorites?
Well, I don't know any particular reason why. They seemed to pay attention to me, I guess, and try to help me in my learning. It's the only thing I can.
What did you do after high school?
After high school, I was working on a farm and everything around Greeley, Colorado, but I was determined to join service, to go to Vietnam, that I was hearing, to do my part, and left Greeley, went to Denver, to Stapleton Airport at that time, and joined the Marine Corps, and in May of '68, flew to San Diego.
Now, when did you join the Marines?
In May,
You recall the day?
seemed like it was probably the 27th of May.
Okay. You have your T-14?
Mhm.
It'll be on there.
Yeah. Yeah, went to San Diego, California at the MCRD.
Okay.
This will probably be easier to read.
You joined the May 30th, 1968.
Okay.
May 30th,
Yeah.
1968.
Okay.
Why'd you join the Marines over the Army, or the Navy, or the Air Force?
Well, Dad was in the 1st Marine Division in World War II. And like I said, he was an alcoholic, and of course Mom wasn't. She didn't drink or smoke, but Dad did, and that's why we were raised the way we were. But just hearing Dad talk about it, I just, something, I can't pinpoint why I joined the Corps, but I thought it was the most
Yeah, okay.
roughest that I wanted to be in.
And you went to San Diego?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was Hollywood Marine, they call them.
Tell me about the yellow footprints.
Well, like I said, so much I can't remember, because when we come in to off the plane, a military bus picked us up, and I mean, I wish to God I'd have never joined, because them guys grabbed you and put the fear of God in us. Of course,
Because I heard there's a yellow footprint that you had to fall out on.
yeah, it probably was after the bus took
Yeah,
us in there.
yeah.
And that was just before we went in to get our hair cut, and we was up 2 or 3 days and nights. We was like zombies when we got done. And got our hair cut. And
Tell me about boot camp.
well, the first phase, it was so busy I didn't even know which way to turn, other than I wished I was out. But I got, I think the second phase, I got kicked in the shins, hit in the jaws, slapped in the face, bloodied my nose through boot camp. Then I can remember we was going to a class, and I let my rifle hit the deck, the sound, you know, because we used to lay them down, and it clicked. Well, the drill instructor turned around and come back at me, and I just stopped. And I thought he was going to go on by me. And all of a sudden, I seen stars, bam. And I mean, slapped me right square in the face of half a dozen times, bloodied my nose. So when he was finished, he said, "You puke," or whatever they call us. I went on in, and one of the commanding officers says, "Private, what happened to you? Did the deep drill instructor do that?" And I said, "No, sir. I ran into the wall coming in." And from that time on, I was never bothered by drill instructors. But I was taught not to snitch and tell and stuff like that.
What type of training did you have at boot camp?
Well, my MOS was 0311 and 0341, which is machine guns. And that's what I did. I was attached to a machine gun, but other than that, grunt, just a rifleman over there.
You go on bivouac?
Oh yeah, we was on LPs and of course OPs, listening post and observing post. And we'd be out in the jungle, of course, Da Nang, Chu
No,
Lai.
this is in boot camp.
Oh, boot camp.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Did
You said we go on maneuvers? And
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, not in boot camp.
you go on bivouac in boot camp?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
No, this was all, that
What's your most vivid memory of boot camp?
well, you know, we just kind of like I was saying, those things that happened to me. And then of course, in San Diego, being hot, we had to do one man messed up, the whole platoon paid for it. We done knuckle push-ups till our knuckles were bleeding, and at that time, and
Had you seen the ocean before? First time you saw the ocean, what'd you think?
well, I don't know, I was at Oz, I was amazed at, yep.
And boot camp lasted how long?
Well, I think 9 weeks. I was in there longer because I was set back for, I think, about 3 weeks for advanced schooling at that time. And, but anyway, but when
After boot camp, where'd you go?
okay, after boot camp, went to Camp Pendleton
Okay.
for advanced training. I forget what it was, ITR or something like that.
What type of advanced training did you have?
Okay, in all military weapons, machine guns, hand grenades, we went through that. And the law, which was extended type shoulder mortar. And
And that's a light anti-tank weapon?
yeah, it is. And to get into like tunnels, and I come pretty close to being a tunnel rat. But I didn't have to go into tunnels. So,
But how long did your advanced training last?
well, I don't remember. Because after advanced training, seemed like it was quite a long time because we went through all the obstacle course, firing over our head, and with that concertina wire on our backs, and then I don't remember.
Now, was this training geared toward Vietnam?
Mhm. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So from Camp Pendleton, where'd you go?
Okay, Camp Pendleton, I went home on a 30-day leave, then come back to California, and then I had my original orders was to Vietnam, Da Nang, Quang Tri, Chu Lai area. So,
And you left you recall when you left the States?
well, I'm not sure. That's just a copy of that. It's, I think I left, well, it had to be in December or January of '69. December of '68, probably.
September 1st, 1969?
No,
Let me see. There's let me see. Let me see, there's
okay, that's when I
oh, that's
got,
when you were promoted, September 1st, '69.
right, yeah. Yeah, 'cause we was aboard ship when I got promoted.
Okay. Well, it was, you left for Vietnam in '68?
No, probably January of '69.
'69, okay,
Right,
okay.
Right.
How'd you go to Vietnam?
Well, we left Travis Air Force Base in California and went to Okinawa for I think, seems to me like maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Did you fly?
Yeah. And then flew into Da Nang from there. And if I remember right, we flew in as high out of gun range, and then come in at a dive into Da Nang. And then that's when it happened. They assigned us to our platoon, put us on a chopper, flew us out into the bush, Lord knows where. And of course, machine gunner was out there, and we was replacements for the ones that was short time.
And what unit were you assigned to?
Let's see, I was a 26th Marines, Echo Company, 1st Marine Division, 9th Amphibious Brigade.
And 26 Marines?
Yes.
What division is that in?
Well, I was attached to the 1st Marine Division.
First Marine Division,
Mhm.
okay. You say you were attached to the First
Well,
Marine Division?
the 9th Amphibious Brigade was the
Okay,
1st Marine Division.
okay,
They have different
okay.
branches.
When you landed in Vietnam and first got off the airplane, what was your reaction?
Well, just an uncertainty, I don't know how to describe the feeling. Wondering if I made a mistake, if I was going to make it back, because all the constant firing, rifle fire, machine gun, boom, 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 all over the place. And
Was it hot when you got off the airplane?
it didn't seem like it was that hot when I got there,
Okay.
but it was kind of misty, foggy type, monsoon probably season, seemed like.
What was do you know where your unit was located in Vietnam?
Well, all I know is they flew us around what they call Elephant Valley. And, well, so it had to have been around July, maybe, Quantree,
Okay.
seems like. And,
What'd you do in Vietnam?
well, when I first got there, I packed machine gun ammo. You know, the canisters with my pack and everything, because the new boots got that job. And I mean, of course, physically, I was in shape to handle all of that. And then after a period of time, then I passed it on to the new ones that was coming. I think they thought that I was too small to handle that weight,
What machine gun did you have?
the M60.
M60.
Yeah.
Now, what was your job in the company? What'd you do?
Well, I was in the platoon as a rifleman. I never handled the M60,
Okay.
but we were close to the machine gun. Then we had the mortar team. But on a fire team, there's 4 men, and 5 if the radio man was with you. That was called a fire team. That we went out on LPs or observing post OPs, stuff like that.
Going on patrol, what do you do?
Well, we go in a line, it depends on where we was at, and through the heaviest jungle you can imagine, rice paddies, and we got fired at several times in the villages way deep in the jungle. And then, of course, we'd spread out and then just, mow that village down. Women, children that was there, we unloaded on all of them, go through the village and not a single fatality. No dead bodies, no nothing. Underground. So we didn't have any confirmed kills that I know of when we did that. Because they had probably VC snipers. Because I don't think the NVA was in the area that I remember, but it was just a VC.
Was this up in Icord,
Yeah,
up north?
yeah, right.
What was the terrain? Was it flat? Was it mountainous?
Well, we was in all kinds of different terrain. Rice paddies flat, and we slept in the rice paddies at times at night. And then you had the mountain region that we were in, like mountains and pretty rugged, seemed like.
Were you close to the rock pile? You familiar with the rock pile?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's up, it's just south of the DMZ.
I don't,
It's just a big mountain up there.
oh, well, well, like I said, there was a lot of rugged mountains and
Yeah,
stuff,
okay.
peaked, jagged rocks
Yeah.
and stuff like that, so that could have been it.
Mm-hmm.
Then most of the time, we're in real thick jungle, and there would be 2 or 3 undergrowths. Down in there, you could see, and then up here was vegetation, vines and stuff. And above that was more jungle. And that's why you could not see any NVA movement from the air, because they were down under that jungle.
When you went out on patrol, how long would you be out on the patrol?
Well, not knowing for sure, seemed like to me 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks at a time, to almost exhaustion. And then they'd chopper us back to the ship, because to recuperate aboard ship. Of course, I got sicker than a dog for that. Then we'd be on ship maybe a week, and then right back out.
When you were out on patrol at night, what kind of position did you set up?
Okay, sometimes we would dig a mound or foxhole, and then seemed like we was in maybe a half moon, set up kind of like a Chi-Com, or not Chi-Com, but a kind of U-shaped perimeter. And then, of course, then the sergeants and stuff like that, lieutenant, captain, whatever is behind, then we'd, of course, be out in front.
And how long would it be on watch at night when you were out there on patrol?
Well, a lot of times they'd say about a 4-hour watch. I'd lay back, for instance, on my pack that was always on, and get shut-eye, and we never slept. It was like one eye open. You never really got to sleep. And then the next watch, so it seems like to me maybe 4 hours of laying back or sleep if you could a night. And
What about ambushes?
ambushes, well, out at Da Nang in '69, we was there when the ammo dump was blown up. It was on TV. I was just right across the river in a compound. Well, we went out in the middle of the night. Seemed like south of us. Seemed like that was south. And we all, the whole platoon, probably platoon, or squad anyway, set up on a little hill right outside of the river. And all of a sudden, early daybreak, there come a VC across in front of us, no farther than from here to that wall, packing weapons and supplies to the NVA and I mean, all of a sudden we unloaded on that guy, and all of a sudden he turned into a polka dot. Because he just had shorts on, no shirt, just a kind of a t-shirt. And it just, I can still see it. That man just all of a sudden when we unloaded, just blue spots started forming all over him. And that man run for several feet, filled, just head to toe with machine gun and M16 fire before he dropped. And then I went with the platoon sergeant to get the clothes off of him that was blood red. So we got that to take it in and left the body there, and took it in to show a confirmed kill. Well, we took the mule back.
The mule?
Oh, that's a flat cart.
Okay.
Yeah, they call it a mule. And went out there to pick the body up, and it was gone. As soon as we left, the enemy was watching us in the jungle evidently, because when we left, because it couldn't have been probably an hour's time, I
Yeah.
suppose, but they retrieved him and took off.
And he was only, what, 20, 30 feet away?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did you think when you saw him?
I don't know, it was just a gut rendering, but for, I guess, adrenaline rose up in me to kill, because that's what we were taught and drilled into our head, to kill or we would be killed. And it was just like an adrenaline rush. But it really didn't bother me one little bit until I got home 3 or 4 years later. And then those things would appear out of nowhere in the middle of the night. So
What about booby traps?
we weren't exposed to booby traps as much as they were in Saigon on south. But we had to be very careful about booby traps, but we never run into any. It was always encountered firefights with the VC or whatever firing on us, and they used AK-47s, which had a distinct sound, had a cack sound. That's what we were usually into.
When you came to a village, how could you tell if they were friendly or not friendly?
Well, usually, I remember one village way out there, we was going and going, and there was little bitty children with like jungle rot sores on them, and we'd go in there and they'd real friendly, they'd talk their Vietnamese, and then they would, their teeth would be black, because they was chewing on some kind of
Being that,
or something.
yeah.
And I can remember a few of us guys got in our pack and got jungle rot ointment and give it to the mama san. Then we put it on the little ones, then handed it to her and made some kind of sign, and boy, they seemed to be happy and smiled and stuff like that. And at that time, family was talking about, hearing on TV about the Americans killing women, children, and stuff like that, and that never was the case with us. I don't know what the rest of them did, but we never did that. So,
What's your most vivid memory of Vietnam?
well, I think probably, other than what I was just saying, but when it come to be short time, just before I got ready to get out, I received shrapnel and was medevaced out, shrapnel in the forearms, and sent to the hospital, flew out to the hospital in Da Nang. And
Is that a rock or a mortar attack?
no, they said it was probably a Chi-Com, which a Chi-Com is a homemade hand grenade that the Vietnamese used. They used our sea ration cans or whatever they could find to put glass, rock, and everything else. Then however they done it, throw it at you and it'd explode. So,
How long have you been there when that happened?
seemed like maybe 6 months.
So you're medevac to a ship?
No, in Da
Da
Nang
Nang,
City.
Da Nang.
Yeah,
And then when you returned to your unit after that?
right, to a unit. No, they didn't let me go back to the unit because I had jungle rot on my feet. I couldn't hardly walk. So I went to the compound, which was a compound hill concertina wire around it outside of Da Nang, and I spent my time the next 3 weeks, it seems like, before I was ready to ship out.
Okay.
So probably that time, because when I got that shrapnel, or what do they call it, I mean, we was unloading ammunition all out in front of us because it looked like we could see movement out there. And then that's when that happened.
How long were you in Vietnam?
Well, let's see. Got out January the 27th in 1970. So it probably maybe February or March, right there somewhere in Vietnam, to January of 70.
So that what, 8, 9 months?
Yeah, probably I think 9 months.
Okay.
But I was there because you have to be there over 6 months to get the 2 ribbons.
Yeah.
The Vietnamese defense, the Vietnamese campaign. So
What's your best memory of Vietnam?
if there's any good memory, probably when I was leaving, I guess.
Yeah.
Because there was a smell, an odor, because of the outhouses, the toilets, where they always kept diesel fuel in them and burn them. I'm sure you had that too. And they had somebody, I never got into that, but, burning the feces, whatever, and the stench, and then the village, I was sprayed with Agent Orange. I forgot about that, but we was going through looked like a flat place where there was palm trees and bananas. Bananas were huge. And there was a mist, because there was a plane flew over, they was flying, and it was kind of a mist and a chemical smell, because I worked on farms. I knew what insecticide and stuff smelled like. And the next day, when we went to where we was going, we filtrated back, and the foliage was already starting to wilt, turning yellow and kind of a yellowish green and wilting. I can still remember that. But we were actually sprayed with it.
What's your worst memory of Vietnam?
Probably that I just mentioned about having to fire on that VC. Probably that. And there's so much more that I don't even remember, because I think we were so fiercely angry, mad of what we were going through, that all we wanted to do was kill. I'm sure you've maybe heard say about that.
Tell me about coming home.
Well, let's see. If I remember right, we flew into El Toro Marine Air Base in Santa Ana, California. Santa Ana, yeah, at El Toro Marine Air Base. Then we had to stay there for 7 days to get what they called reprogram us for civilian life, and tell us not to, because of the people that were cussing us as we left the gate and spitting on us and all of that, protesting Vietnam, that we were warned not to let that bother us, just go on. And they did. And even after I got home and tried to get a job, I was shunned. And I've heard some say, well, all the good men died in Vietnam and you guys made it. Well, that didn't make me feel very good, like I was nothing. If I'd have been, you know, a decent man, I would have died there, is what they were saying. So they were just down on me, and then I started drinking real heavy. And the thing of it is, and the Lord is my witness, I've never took drugs, but it was alcohol. It was my downfall. So,
When were you discharged?
74. Yeah.
May 19th, 1974.
Because I was in, what was it, 20 months. Seems to me like it's probably 20 months, and then the next in reserve,
Okay.
you know, waiting for it to be called on call. And they sent this.
That's your discharge.
Yeah, and then of course that's my acceptance when I was accepted.
Oh, yeah. May 20th, 1968.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What'd you do after you got out of the Marines?
yeah, let's see. Well, all I knew at that time was farming. So I worked on irrigation farms around Greeley, because that was irrigation, silage corn, field corn they called it, raised sugar beets, and feeder cattle feedlot like Montford's. And so basically that's what I done.
When'd you come to Bartlesville?
When?
Yes.
Last year, about September. I
Why'd you,
think.
why'd you come here?
Well, like I said, we left Kansas because I struggled trying to make ends meet and tried to get ahead and couldn't do it. So we left and went to Oklahoma City and become a private contractor and did construction work for, I think, about 10, 11 years, and done pretty good. But I guess I could back up. When I was in Kansas, went to Wichita, VA, and they act like I wasn't wanted. I mean, just treated me like I didn't even belong there, wouldn't do nothing. So that was fine. So in 2005, well, I was working 20 years in a rock quarry, Midwest Mineral and Scott Rock.
Where's that located?
Okay, Midwest Mineral is all over southeast Kansas.
Okay.
It's and Scott Rock is in Sycamore,
Yeah.
Kansas.
What'd you do in the rock quarry?
Well, I was a driller for quite a few years for Midwest. And then for Scott, I was a plant operator, running the plant,
Okay.
crushing rock. Then drove the pit truck and stuff as needed.
Then you came to Bartlesville.
Then it came to Bartlesville.
And why'd you come here?
Well, because we were actually, because I was called to be a preacher, and I don't know if you're a, religious man or anything, but anyway, so we come here for ministry for Voice of the Martyrs, and I went to get a job while I was here and went to the unemployment office, and it started there. The Veterans Department, they said in the unemployment center, they said, well, you asked if I was a veteran. And I said, yeah. Well, they asked for my DD 214. And they said, do you know that you're qualified for all of this help? And I said, Kansas said I wouldn't. And that's where I put it, and they started working for me and ended up being approved with Agent Orange because I had a heart attack when I was about 27. So that's why I said that there's so many things I had to fall back on because
So you came here for Voice of the Martyrs.
yeah, and then moved on to Oklahoma City, and then got my work or VA comp or something for Agent Orange, and then all the other things combined.
Would you join the Marines again?
Yes, I would, yeah, because I think it's the best going.
I'd like to do a word association. First of all, before that, why were we in Vietnam?
Well, to my belief, we were asked there by the South Vietnamese because for their freedom, because they didn't want to be in the communist North, and they were fighting against in North coming down. So it was my belief and train of thought that we were there in their behalf to fight for their freedom, and I would do it again. Of course, what happened after we pulled out is a different story. But
I'd like to do a word association. I'll give you some words and you give me your reaction. The first one is boot camp.
I guess I don't know what you're talking about.
When you hear boot camp, what do you think of?
Physical training and discipline.
26 Marines.
Proud unit. It's,
U.S. Marine Corps.
yes, Semper Fi, Semper Fidelis, always faithful.
Patrol.
Maneuvers.
Agent Orange.
Well, Agent Orange was uncalled for, I thought. So I really had to say about that, because I thought we would be better off beating the jungle than to be exposed to that.
Vietnam.
A third world country, trying to make it, I guess, trying to be free.
War protester.
Well, I don't know if I'd probably get in trouble if I said what I thought about them.
Lyndon Johnson.
I thought Johnson was okay.
Ho Chi Minh.
Communist traitor, you know.
Richard Nixon.
No, I didn't like him. I believe he's the one that pulled us out and left them defenseless.
How do you want to be remembered?
Fighting for our nation, freedom, and the freedom for all who seek freedom.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Nothing that I can think of, other than I would do it again if I was called on to defend our nation.
Well, sir, this is an excellent interview. I want to thank you for your service and thank you for the interview.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. A lot of things that I haven't remembered for a long time just popped up that I haven't thought about in years.
And again, this is January 11th, 2019. My name is Joe Todd. This has been an interview with Kenneth Leon Caswell in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Thank you.